A good day to everyone. I am Sofia Carril Rosales from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. I am here today to present the instructional material that we created based on our detailed lesson plan in English 7, titled Elements of Poetry. This instructional material is designed as an interactive and game-based presentation to make learning more engaging, student centered, and enjoyable for grade 7 learners. The lesson focuses on helping students to distinguish the different elements of poetry, explain the role of each element in creating meaning, and identify these elements in a given poem, as based on the learning objectives that you can view in the detailed lesson plan. So, in creating this presentation, we considered three important things. First, of course, is the alignment with the lesson objectives. Later on, you will be able to see the lesson objectives presented in this presentation. Second is learner engagement through interactivity and games. Since this is a game-based presentation, there will be games later on for the students to think and enjoy. And lastly is the ease of understanding for grade 7 students. So this instructional material also follows the flow of the detailed lesson plan, as I mentioned earlier, from the preliminaries up to the evaluation and assignment. So allow me to show you. So in preliminaries, we always start with a prayer, followed by the greetings. Next is the checking of classroom structure, as you can see here. But wait, I will show you something more. In here for the prayer, we can click this praying position hand so that you will be able to move on to the next slide. And that's what makes it interactive. And this one, what do you think? Is the interactive, icon or symbol. The sun, of course, followed by the trash can. And this part is the checking of attendance. So we will click the attendance for the next slide. And the motivation. So in this part, the motivation here is about filling up the jug with words. So this is a poem from Rafael Zulueta da Costa that the students will be reading. And after that, they will collect the words from the poem that shows values, principles, and or hope. That's why it's called Word Bank Challenge, since we will be collecting words from the students or the learners. And there, the jug is filled up now. So we can proceed to the journey itself. So this is the start of the presentation of the lesson, followed by the discussion, so on and so forth. So later on, I will show you how it works. In this lesson plan, we used, of course, a Canva presentation. I will show it to you. This one, a Canva presentation. So as you can see earlier, this presentation also have animations and the use of links, hyperlinks. Kaya we were able to move to the next slide by clicking something. It is because of the links embedded in it. And of course, there are game mechanics and visual aids. You can see here. Here's the game mechanics. Followed by this one. Everything is a visual aid. So this makes the lesson more dynamic and participative. So next, allow me to explain how this instructional material was created. So for the planning stage, before creating the slides, of course, I first analyzed the detailed lesson plan carefully. So I identified the learning competencies, the objectives, and even the activities included. And of course, the assessment tasks that was written as well. Since the pedagogy used is inquiry-based learning, I designed the presentation to encourage participation as well as critical thinking and collaboration among students. So I also ensure that the instructional material supports the integration of arts, as you can see there, ESP, and social science through creative and reflective activities that you will be able to see later on. So allow me to show you how this was created. So first, of course, is we opened Canva. We searched Canva, followed by searching for a template. So in this presentation, I thought of a detective or treasure hunting theme. That's why I searched in the templates, and this is what I ended up when I search in the templates. So for the templates, I used this, the mystery object investigation. So this is what it looks like at first. And then I did some edits and I came up with this. I retained the text, what do you call that? The font. And I added interactive images, animations, followed by the content itself. Here, I'm gonna show you the how this presentation becomes interactive. So in this is the, as I mentioned earlier, this is the presentation of the lesson. So if we click this, the play button, it's like we're playing a game. There's a welcome remark. Welcome, detective. A mystery is waiting to be solved. Look closely. Every detail matters. I added this because it feels like we were in for something, like we are solving or looking for something, which will make the students, focus their attention to the discussion. And here in the introduction, we just stated here the problem. Oh, by the way, if you can see it, I have here a home button that if we press, we will go back to the first, not the first slide, the presentation slide of the poetry cast, where you will press the play button. So next, let's go back. And in here, you will click start. This is the reward. If you completed an activity or you participated during the recitation, we will have a poetry gem. Of course, a gem is equal to 5 recitation points. So this is the motivation, pen it out. So they will, based on the photos, they will be writing words related to poetry, starting with Poetry. Now for the discussion, poetry. As you can see, I am still clicking the buttons at the side. You can click this if you want to go back. Click the other for next. So this is the lesson objectives and the definition of poetry. And now this is where it gets more game based since the students will be playing like 4 picks 1 word, but it's not 4 picks, it's only 2. So there is a clue at the bottom, the meaning of the word, and they will guess what word it is. So for the first one, the first element is a line there, and it will be revealed, as well as the definition, the whole definition of line, and an example. So for the next slide, it's the same stanza, group of lines there, the example. Yeah. So this goes on until we finished all the elements. So now we will move on to this one, the last slide of the last element. Let's go with this, the rhyme scheme. So this is the example of rhyme scheme. So now this is the application. This is the start of the application. So you can, if you want to go back, you can click this arrow. Next. So there's more. Great job, detectives. You have finished the tasks assigned to you, but it is not yet over. It is not over yet. There is still a big task that you need to accomplish. So this is like a congratulations, but not yet. They're not yet finished. We have here a create a stanza challenge. So this is the application. And what makes this exciting is how the students or the learners will be given their tasks, since they will be picking a card. So now that there are four groups, the class is divided into four groups. They can pick a case file. Like an example, I am from group, let's say group 1, and I will be picking a case file. If I pick case file 4, let's click this. It will say what your topic is. It's imagery. So let's go back. Let others pick. Let's pick case file 2. There, the topic for the second group is simile and metaphor, and so on and so forth. So we always need to go back to this slide after picking a topic by clicking this arrow, so that we can proceed to the next slide, which is the exit ticket. So after finishing the activity and application, there will be exit ticket, just like for the generalization part of the detailed lesson plan. So the students will share any word or phrase that they remember from the discussion. And finally is the activity. This is the evaluation part. We have here a multiple choice activity and expressing understanding. This is a sentence making activity. They will explain in sentences. They will answer the question in full sentences. Followed by the read and identify. They were given a poem and they will identify the elements of poetry in it. Then after that, congratulations! You have restored the kingdom of poetry. The presentation ends with a greeting. And we hope that the students is happy as well because they gain some poetry gems which serves as recitation points. So in this part, you can still go back using this arrow. And let's go back. And to go to the next slide, you just simply need to click this. And it will show the assignment. And finally, this one is the last slide, which means that the whole case or the whole treasure hunting is now closed. Okay, going back, for the visual design, I used a brown background. I prefer to use a mute tone for the background so that the elements will be more visible. Kumbaga mas angat siya. And of course, readable fonts. I stick with the similar font for the title and the definition since it is easy to read, followed by the poetry themed graphics. Not poetry themed, it's more of aside from poetry, it also has a treasure hunting in a detective themed graphics, and of course the organized layouts. And to maintain the students' attention and improve comprehension, I made sure that the text was not overcrowded. As you can see from the definitions that I showed earlier, and the instructions were clear, and of course the visuals matched the topic. So to make the slides more interactive, I added animations, transitions, clickable buttons, and hyperlinks, like what I showed earlier. So these features really help transform the presentation from a traditional lecture na yung next lang into an engaging and learning and more enjoyable learning experience. So for the creation of the game-based activities, one of the main features of this instructional material is the integration of games. As you saw earlier, we included the word bank challenge in the review part of the lesson. It was designed to activate prior knowledge in an easier way. They don't have to do much, they just have to think and give one word. And that's why it's designed like that to encourage participation and prepare students for the new lesson. So the created game mechanics gives the students freedom to choose answers, to reveal the hidden words, or earn points to correct responses. So the main purpose of gamification in this instructional material is to increase the motivation and reduce boredom while learning literary concepts. Since we know that poetry is a literary concept, and sometimes there are students who find it hard to focus if it's too literary or too serious during the discussion. That's why we incorporated the visual aids like these. We also made the assessment interactive. So again, the technical tools that was used here is Canva presentation, and all of the animations, the transitions, the hyperlinks, and the visuals integrated in this is made by Canva in Canva. So of course, we also use the icons, images, and educational templates to improve the visual appeal of the presentation. So let's now move on to the importance of the instructional material. So this interactive and game-based instructional material is important because first of all, it promotes active learning. Then it also increases student participation and motivation, and as well as it enhances understanding of poetry or the lesson. Instead of relying solely on lecture and discussion, the material encourages learners to think critically, to collaborate since there are group works, and enjoy the learning process. It also supports a 21st century learning by integrating technology, creativity, communication, and engagement inside the classroom. In conclusion, this instructional material was carefully designed based on the detailed lesson plan and the needs of the grade 7 learners. Through interactive slides and game-based activities, the presentation transforms poetry lessons into a more enjoyable, meaningful, and learner-centered experience. So we believe that this instructional material can help students better understand the elements of poetry while also developing participation, creativity, and confidence in learning English. That's all. Thank you so much for listening.